Welcome to Wednesday Overanalyzed, where I overanalyze blocks of around 5 minutes of the Netflix show Wednesday. I stole this concept from a German YouTuber called Miro with the series Harry Podcast, and she stole it from another podcast called Back to the Future Minute, where the hosts go through each minute of the film and pick it apart. I decided it would be fun to share my own take of Wednesday, and I hope you find it as entertaining as I do. And for anyone thinking I would hate on the show, I absolutely do not. I love the show, it's so well done. And I'm not even taking myself too seriously here, it's just for fun and giggles. So, with that in mind, let's jump right into it. In the first shot, we see the main entrance of the Nancy Reagan High School with a bunch of kids walking towards it. Some of these kids look like they already have their bachelor's degree, but maybe I'm just really petty here. The school we see here actually is the University Polytechnica of Bucharest, and with over 200 years of existence is the oldest and most prestigious engineering school in Romania, and around 30,000 students study there. Now that I think about it, these extras might actually be students at the university. But let's get back to high school though. High school encompasses grades 9 through 12, so it starts at around the age of 14, 15 and ends at 17, 18 years old. That gives us an idea as to how old the characters are. Also, we see an American flag on the flag post to the right, so we all know that we're in America. On the left, we see a bike rack, which is way too full of bikes. Americans don't use bikes, they get dropped off by their parents, even though they live 5 minutes away. Everyone knows that. So, this is very suspicious already, and that's why you can tell that this series is fiction. The camera is moving in, so we know the next shot will be inside the school, perhaps the entry hall of the main entrance. And here we see a marble statue of some old lady's head and upper body, presumably the founder of the school, or maybe she was just an important person and the school was named after her. I don't know. Anyway, that's probably Nancy Reagan. She's wearing a collar with a flower in the middle, and behind the statue is a staircase leading to the first floor, and a bunch of kids are walking in all kinds of directions, while Wednesday is walking into the shot away from the camera with a classical tune playing in the background. Next up, we get a close shot of her boots clicking as she walks down the hall, and there's always this one kid who started wearing this certain type of shoe, so every time they walked in the hallway you thought a teacher's coming because of their shoes, but it was just that one random student. Now, take a look at the background actors. Here on the left is the girl in pink, let's just call her that. And right next to her is the girl in orange, let's say. And to the right of Wednesday, there's this girl with the fluffy hair, let's call her that. And in a few scenes, we'll see them again, which makes absolutely no sense because as you can see, they're walking in the opposite direction of Wednesday. After this shot, we get an over-the-shoulder shot with the rest of the students in the hallway making way for Wednesday. And if you didn't know, these lockers here are actually not real or not in the building from real life. Wednesday has braided pigtails and wears a black dress with what seem to be white dots on it. Then we get a close-up shot of Wednesday's eyes as she begins to narrate. As she's talking about adolescents in underfunded schools, we get the most generic high schoolers the writers or directors, I don't know, could come up with. A group of 20-year-olds wearing very colorful clothes. Of course, it wouldn't be a proper high school if not at least one of them were chewing and popping a bubblegum. And look who it is, Purple and Orange Girl, who were just before walking into the opposite direction, but now they're perfectly aligned here to show us this beautiful shot. Then we see this girl in the background laughing at Wednesday, but what the hell is she laughing about? What's so funny? Got a problem? Is this the general reaction Wednesday gets every time she walks down the hallway? Totally weird. Close-up shot of Wednesday again, and the camera shows what's in front of her again, showing teachers as she talks about people whose dreams were crushed years ago. This couple walking by could literally be married with 2 kids by the look of it, if they started early. I wasn't petty. Okay, maybe I am. Stop judging my judgment. And here's the girl with the fluffy hair who was also just before walking into the opposite direction. The teachers are really looking like they hate their lives every minute Wednesday is in it. That rhymed. Also, this is room 23. the assistant principal's office, also listed in the Wednesday wiki because it is so important to the plot. That begs the question, what happened in the assistant principal's office? Some more shots to show us everyone avoids Wednesday until the bell rings. Also notice how packed the hallway is and compare that to the second next shot and look to the left. No teachers there, but in the next shot from above they just spawn in. The lockers disappear and the pattern on the floor changes, which means this is a different location than the shot before and not continuous in time. Yet the visual style of storytelling here, paired with the continuous clicking of Wednesday's shoes, creates the illusion that this shot would be directly after the previous one on the time scale. Barbaric. Let's take a look at the extras again. Here we can see the laughing girl to the left and the girl with the black hair to the right. And just a little later, we then see the girl with the violet backpack who seems to be following Wednesday around, and also the couple from before with their 2 kids. Now it seems like everyone is kind of following Wednesday, but also going away from her at all times. So my theory is that this hallway is cursed, and if you just keep walking into one direction, after some time you will end up at the point where you started again, so you can never really escape this hallway because it is cursed. That's the only reasonable explanation. So now we know that the Nancy Reagan High School is cursed and there's something wrong there. Maybe it has to do with the assistant principal's office. Oh, we're really getting somewhere here. Whatever though. Now the camera shows Wednesday's POV again, and see how empty the hallway is already? These kids are fast. Not only that, it is also the hallway we saw before, or at least the same type, so I'm in confusion. Anyway, we get to see the most generic high school bullies with their baseball jackets, laughing as they go away to class, followed by a camera zooming in on the locker with the number 101, and I wonder what's in it. Let's take one step back though. Notice the girl walking to the left of Wednesday. She then gets behind her to overtake her slow ass on the right, and in the locker shot, she actually walks by in the foreground, +1 for continuity. But see the girl with the orange top, checkered shirt, and violet backpack. Here, she's past the locker at locker number 103, as is Wednesday. In the next shot, Wednesday isn't there when the girl in the checkered shirt is. She takes a full 1.5 seconds before stepping into frame, meaning she was about 2 or 3 steps away from locker 103, which is roughly half a meter to a meter since she's walking slowly, or 1 foot and 7.5 inches to 3 feet 3 inches for the uncivilized people watching. That means she was too far away. And to be exact, we can see that one locker is as broad as Jenna Ortega's shoulder width. Jenna is 1 meter and 55 centimeters tall, so her shoulder width is around 45 centimeters. Thus, she should have been at the height of locker 105 in the previous shot and not at 103. -1 for lazy continuity. They thought I wouldn't notice, but this guy has pizza in his locker. The doodles make fun of Pugsley, Wednesday's brother, whose name sounds close to Pigsley and for being fat, I guess. One doodle in particular says, "Can you become bacon?" Which is a good question, and which led me to Google the definition of bacon, and Google said, "An English philosopher." Interesting. Thankfully, the second definition was a type of smoked ham that is part of the English breakfast. Bacon is part of the fatty belly of a pig, which means you could make bacon out of any fatty belly. Therefore, Pugsley could become bacon. If he were lean and skinny, on the other hand, I think it would not be possible because bacon without fat just seems wrong. But I don't know at what percentage of fat belly meat becomes bacon, and I don't think anyone ever cared so much about bacon as to make an official definition for it. So we will now move on to the next scene in which Wednesday opens the locker, meaning this is Pugsley POV. There are a lot of stickers in his locker, but I couldn't make out much, so I'll just skip the analysis for now. Now we get another over-the-shoulder shot into the locker where Pugsley stands with an apple in his mouth. Notice how there's no saliva running down the apple? That means it was freshly shoved into his mouth, so the bullies first drew on Pugsley's locker and then put him in there before walking away, as we just saw. Technically, Wednesday could have noticed the commotion when walking towards the locker, but chose to not give a damn and just walk casually. He then proceeds to fall out of the locker, yet there was plenty of space in there. My conclusion, he did so purely for dramatic effect. Give this kid an Oscar. Now he's on the floor and still has the apple in his mouth, and I'm starting to think he dislikes apples or really likes doctors. Get it? 1 apple a day? I know I'm funny. We see Wednesday kneeling down towards her brother, and in the background we can now see the stickers in the locker clearly. A raven on a branch in front of the moon and the word horror below. 2 skeletons with construction helmets. A pirate flag and the face of a wolf or maybe a rat. Ugly nonetheless. Also, the principal label. However that got there, because Pugsley doesn't seem like he could pull something like that off. Stealing from the principal's office, but maybe his character is more unhinged than I thought. I just know nothing about the Wednesday universe. I'm just doing this for fun. All this time I just assumed it's Pugsley's locker. It could have been Wednesday's locker too, but the stickers make no sense for her, and hers would most likely be all black as to avoid an allergic reaction to color. Next, she takes the apple out of Pugsley's mouth and asks her brother for names, and the apple here looks very weird. This row indicates the upper teeth, while just below it there seemed to have been another upper teeth mark. More specifically, there is a part of the apple missing, and this part looks like it fell off but got put back onto the apple. Now Pugsley says he doesn't know who the bullies were, but he wasn't blindfolded. Are his eyes not working properly, or was he freshly picked by the bullies and just became their next victim? Anyway, Wednesday then goes on to claim emotions equal weakness as she unties her brother, and weakness is defined as a disadvantage or fault, and in her perspective that holds true. When you see the world as a free-for-all battle, emotions do give you a disadvantage. If anyone here is into bondage, feel free to rate the bully's work in the comments. Wednesday then touches her brother's hands, who does absolutely nothing to free himself from the rope, even though his sister just untied the knot and conveniently gets a vision of what just happened a minute earlier. This starts by her flicking her head towards the ceiling. We then see how 5 guys tie him up and shove him into the locker. 5 20-year-olds versus 1 13-year-old seems pretty fair to me. Clearly they are really tough guys and could take on anyone. To be specific, the bullies were Barack Obama from the White House, Josh Hutcherson from the Hunger Games, Owen Wilson from Zoolander, Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, and Rami Malek from Mr. Robot. As the bully closes the door, we can see the inside of the locker again, and this kid did not steal the principal sign just once. He stole it 3 times. What's wrong with him? What the hell? After the vision, Pugsley asks Wednesday if she's okay, while she narrates in her head that she has had visions recently, but who is she narrating for? And this is what it looked like for him. Give this to me. Next, we see Wednesday get up to take care of the bullies, and now we see the locker door more clearly. The skeletons are not wearing construction helmets, but they are conjoined twins holding onto one heart. Symbolism? I don't know. And the rat, wolf, I still can't figure it out. There's also a sticker of a brain with glasses, but that is totally stupid because brains can't see. And the white round thing, I still can't tell what it is. Can you? 2 things we notice now is locker 98 has a sun around the number, and on the ceiling there are these boxy things that discontinue for 3 boxes here and here for no apparent reason. And if we go back a few scenes, we see that the sun is also there. +1 for continuity. Now we get an upshot, and we can clearly see that her dress has little white flowers on it, not dots, as I falsely claimed before. Superb choice of music for the transition to the pool scene, and now that is a huge ass pool. This seems like an Olympic sized swimming pool, which is 50 meters long, 25 meters wide, with a minimum depth of 2 meters. This pool in particular has a depth of 2.1 meters. It is usually divided into 10 lanes, each 2.5 meters wide. This pool only has 8 lanes though, which suffice for competitions. When full, it holds approximately 2.5 million liters or 660,000 gallons of water. And to maintain it, you need a lot of money. So Nancy was probably incredibly stacked. Either that or this is a private school, but I don't know that. And I couldn't find anything about that on the internet either. So we see the bullies play water polo in the pool, and if you didn't know, water polo is an Olympic sport played by 2 teams with 7 players each. And I was just thinking, why are they wearing these caps? And it is to show which team they are on. Now you've gotten a little smarter today, awesome. Also, one other thing, if you look at the background, these trees are not aligned with the windows. Neither are they spaced equally, which bothers me. As Wednesday walks up the stairs, we can see the polo ball get tossed towards the goal, yet in the next scene, Dalton has it. Next, we get to know the bully's name is Dalton, and if this guy in the blue cap had been kidding, Dalton would have fallen for one of the basic blunders. But Wednesday did indeed walk in with 2 ginormous bags of piranhas.
It's Gigantosaurus, whatever you say, Gigantosaurus. Metamorphs.
And now it is all the more confusing for Dalton to crack another joke, in quotation marks, at the girl who is holding the key, or rather fish, to his sterility. As Wednesday drops the bags into the water, these guys are all hurrying to the other side of the pool when they could just swim to the left and get out quicker, which some actually did, but Dalton seems to not have been so smart and therefore was the last person in the pool and got bit. Now piranhas can swim 24 to 40 kilometers per hour or 15 to 25 miles per hour, while the fastest human on Earth can swim only 8.9 kilometers per hour or 5.5 miles per hour, which is 10 meters per second fish speed against 2.5 meters per second human speed. It took 18 seconds for Dalton to get to the other side, resulting in a swimming speed of around 40 meters divided by 18 seconds equals 2.2 meters per second, which is way too fast for a high schooler at best, if screen time were the same as real time passed in the show. So these fish were on a heist. The other thing is, piranhas live in warm fresh water at around 28 degrees Celsius, which is roughly the heat of an indoor pool. That means perfect conditions for piranhas. With the chlorine though, they would get respiratory issues within minutes, yet ChatGPT says they could survive up to an hour if the chlorine levels are low. That means if ChatGPT is correct, and ChatGPT is always correct, just like the news never lie, so this scene is not exaggerated or unrealistic. If you drop hungry piranhas into a pool, this scene might be the outcome. Only difference is you would get sued with animal cruelty, and you don't have filthy rich parents who can either bail you out of everything or know a siren that owes them a favor. I just noticed that Wednesday had to get these piranhas somewhere, so either she has a secret stash of piranhas at the school, or she went to an exotic pet shop and just bought them real quick, came back to the school, and then dropped them into the water.
Nice.
Rip to his balls. Look at her smile here. And then think about how she will stop a murdering monster later this season, for some reason. Why? She should be obsessed with Tyler. A hottie and a high body count, that should be her wet dream. But no, Wednesday had a change of heart after coming to Nevermore and became all about justice and live and let live. Also, Wednesday, I have no emotions, Morgan. Those were the first 3 minutes of Wednesday Season 1, Episode 1 Overanalyzed. If you haven't watched Wednesday yet, you should definitely check it out on Netflix. And if you enjoyed, let me know by liking or commenting so I know to make more type of content like this. If you have any feedback of what I could do better, feel free to leave it in the comments as well. And I'll see you in the next episode.